following program is a presentation of NET.
Be happy and never have no problems.
Well, you talk to American dream, there's only one thing. Tell what it is.
Money's a dream. That's the only time I got money when I dream.
A little more religion and a little less sex.
I'm living in such a wonderful country. God bless America. What else can I wish for?
I want to take my shoes off and lay on my sofa. That's what I do. That's my dream house. I am comfortable.
Three-bedroom ranch house with
Plenty of closet space.
Fireplaces in the bathroom.
A big kitchen.
And it has the little white fence.
It's got these white trellises.
An attic full of beautiful things.
A lot of animals in the house. With a lot of children. With the man I love. Surrounded by a garden.
money all around.
It'd be white. Blue. And it's colored yellow. With secret passageways. Just very open. And it'd have pillars. Small castle.
On the Kentucky River.
On a boat in the middle of the river.
A bar next to it.
Horses. Be on a cliff overlooking the sea.
Near a lake in the mountains.
And that's my dream house.
Wake up and live in Sun City for an active new way of life. Wake up and live in Sun City, Mr. Senior Citizen and White. Don't let retirement get you down. Be happy in Sun City, it's a paradise found. Wake up and live in Sun City, Mr. Senior Citizen and White.
Well, how do you describe someplace like Sun City? You actually have to see the place to believe it. It's something that a soft sell or a hard sell doesn't present the place. You have to be here in person to appreciate the beauty and the relaxed country living, resort living, country club living. I don't know the correct term, but it's a combination of all three.
We have 18 models on display to the public now. Some of the features of these are oval china lavatory, a cultured marble vanity tops with large plate glass mirrors, deluxe gold-plated country club shower head, a Frigidaire deluxe cooktop in burnished chrome, a one-piece white with gold flecked fiberglass tub and shower unit.
Wonderful, just wonderful. I fell in love with that Apache, that two-bedroom home over here. Every time I go back, I see some more of it that I like. And I put some beautiful stone out there on the lawn and some palm trees and so forth, and that's the way I would want to live.
I'm happy because I sell happiness right here. And when I retire, I'll be still happy because I did sell a lot of happiness, and I'm going to be with those happy people that I sold as my friends, which they are.
We brought our French provincial furniture because we enjoyed it, and it's a very comfortable furniture. And I brought my music boxes that I love, and my husband has added a few since we've been here, and they found a home on that wall. This wall is vacant because we're looking for a picture, and we can't agree on the picture. We're hoping to get something that'll fit in with the French decor.
What kind of picture?
Well, he says a chateau or something of that sort.
Paris, French. I mean, I think it ought to have
and
something.
I say let's just get a nice, great, big outdoor picture. So we aren't getting far with that.
Well, we'll get there someday. Don't worry about that.
We brought the outdoors, indoors with our artificial hibiscus plant here, but we like it because it adds pink to this room. I have my whole house in blue and white, but this room has the touch of pink in it.
The things that would make me happy, first of all, would be the casual,
now you come all time,
leisure, and not that humdrum of the cities and possibly the litter, which there's plenty of. People are very careless on keeping things neat, clean. And this is one way to keep America beautiful. This is America beautiful.
Conditions in America today are frightening. I don't care whether a man or woman is black, white, yellow, pink, red, brown, or polka dot. Poverty is no excuse, and we just simply have to do something drastically different from the do-gooding that has been going on all over this nation. We found what we consider a haven in Sun City.
Somehow or other, out here in Sun City, we feel very safe, protected, and yet we've only got about 3 or 4 sheriffs. But it's a true utopia, I think, as much as one can find anywhere in the world. And they say, why, this is just like living in a fabulous motel, resort motel. The pool, our dances, our friends, our patio parties, it's just fabulous. It really is.
You don't have any dogs running in your yard, which is why we moved here. You don't have any small children, which we don't have, but yet there could be small children around. You have a, what would you call it, a more, well, it's a more relaxed life, I guess. No hurry, no nothing.
Now I think the meaning of my life is the more or less payoff, as you would call it.
everyone is aware of the fact that these moments are priceless. And by gosh, let's get everything there is to be had out of it.
Every light switch has a little tiny bulb in the back. When the light is off, why this little bulb shines through. And in fact, it's just enough to light your way to any portion of the house without falling down, bumping into anything. And it's kind of pretty because you see these little glow lights all around, and it's not complete darkness.
You know, there's a song that I think tells the Sun City story pretty well. It goes, wake up and live in Sun City for an active new way of life. Wake up and live in Sun City, Mr. Senior Citizen and wife. Don't let retirement get you down. Be happy in Sun City, it's a paradise town. Wake up and live in Sun City, Mr. Senior Citizen, the best of your life, Mr. Senior Citizen and wife.
This is the house
that Jack built.
The house
that Jack built.
The house
that Jack built.
This is the mower with 3-speed stick that mowed the grass that grew so thick around the house that Jack built. Chew and spit, 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 chew and spit.
When you're living automatically, automatically.
This is the washer with jet stream power that agitates the pants all soiled by the mower in the house that Jack built. Agitator, agitator, agitator.
It will never fail, we guarantee. Save the stub, your lifelong warranty.
This is the vacuum, disposable bags that sucked up the pants, all torn to rags around the house that Jack built.
If you get in trouble, we are close. Instant service is our boast, our boast, our boast, our boast.
This is the garbage disposal with twin exhaust that ground up the pieces, the vacuum tossed all over the house that Jack built. Grind, grind, grind.
If you need it, try revolving charge. All your debts will look like some mirage, 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 mirage.
This is the ice crusher, fruit juicer, shredder, slicer, meat grinder, vegetable blender. All solid state circuit that makes a whole meal if you know how to work it in the house that Jack built.
Lie in a dream, some poets said it. Any dream is yours if you've got credit.
This is the automated grill on the barbecue that roto-grill the steaks in the patio 2 of the house that Jack built. This is the intruder eye whose unerring aim called for the cops when the firefighters came to the house that Jack built.
This is the remote control TV with stereo sound that kept Jack laughing while his house burned down. The house that Jack built.
This is the intruder eye that called for the cops
that came to the fire, that burned in the barbecue, that roto grilled the patio,
that didn't fit the blender, that ground up the garbage,
that choked the disposal, that ground up the fries, that were tossed from the vacuum, that sucked up the pants, that were ripped in the washer, that cleaned off the dirt,
that was left by the mower, that mowed the lawn,
that was around the house that Jack built.
Take 10 years to pay, or take your whole life through. And if you can't pay, we'll just take you.
Or take the house that Jack built.
You may wonder why I'm wrapping leftover pudding in newspaper. And over here I got some gravy wrapped up, but the raw garbage still has to be sorted. This is a new method of dealing with trash, the trash mash method. I have a trash masher here, the latest in home appliances. This one happens to be a Whirlpool, but the other brands are just as good. Now, if you have regular garbage pickup, you may not want to spend $249 on this gadget, but I can dig it. This little beauty's got a metal ram right in here that pulls down on the garbage with 2,000 pounds of pressure. Gives me a feeling of power. Sometimes my neighbors drop by with their garbage, just like in the TV commercial, but they don't know about sorting. You really get into it when you have a masher. And there you'll learn that there are different classes of garbage. The stuff that smells, I put in an old-fashioned pail and take it out every day. Things like, here, fish leavings, poultry leftovers, grapefruit rinds. Just can't leave this stuff around. And oh yeah, Brussels sprouts. They're in a class by themselves. But I can hold on to this stuff, though, because it won't smell too bad, and it, and friends just like it, can go directly into the garbage bag, which is an important part of the masher and specially made for it. You can't use an ordinary grocery bag for this. This is something special because they cost $5 for 15. That's about $35 a year for bags alone. That is, if you change bags twice a week. Now, they included a spray can up here in this little compartment and bacteria killer on the garbage. Helps retard odor and decay. I got this appliance, and I want to enjoy it. But now these ecology people are complaining that plastic-lined bags and spray deodorants are a step backwards. They say that compacted, chemically sprayed trash is longer lasting biologically, that it sits in a landfill and doesn't decompose. Well, all I care about is that the spray wipes out the bacteria and the smells and doesn't let the garbage rot while it sits in my house. I don't feel much of a menace myself because not too many people have a machine like this yet. So how much waste can one family create? And don't blame me for throwing away 30 million tons of paper and 4 million tons of plastic. And I'm not responsible for 100 million tires last year, though I had a few flats, or 30 billion bottles, or 60 billion cans. And they didn't spend $3.5 billion collecting my garbage. I'm sorry I yelled at you, but this makes a lot of noise. Now, when I take the garbage out of the machine, try to hold the bag away from me. And release these catches here. Try to hold the bag away from me in case one of the broken bottles has ripped the bag. Oh, it's heavy. It's a real He-Man's job and a great opportunity to work out. Right there. I got a funny story. My friend Carl is a great one for jokes, and he has a trash masher over where he lives. So he mashes a lot of garbage in just a few bags. Each bag weighs about 40 pounds. Old Carl puts 3 of these small, heavy bags into one large garbage can, see? Then he goes back into his house, sits by the window, and waits for the garbage collectors. Well, you should have seen their faces when they tried to lift his bag. Well, here it is. This is it. The Whirlpool Trash Masher. The machine that turns 20 pounds of trash into 20 pounds of trash.
The White House, the American home. Postcard, picture card home of the first family. The first lady, the first children. The national Christmas tree. It was a classical revival mansion once, open, accessible home, a place without fences. No demarcation line shutting it off from the streets, when the streets were public ways, friendly, crowded, the varied human stream.
So long ago, the White House changed as our homes did and we did. As the White House closed its doors and moved away from our easy reach into formality, we moved away from row houses and balloon frame bungalows, away from city stoops, from women with pillows on windowsills, looking down and shouting across noisy neighborhood streets. We got up from our porch gliders and moved inside to air-conditioned rooms to squint out through front door peepholes. Do you remember when we didn't lock our doors?
Do you remember when we looked out of the window and there was so much to see? Geography wasn't specialized into districts. We used our streets and our neighborhoods for everything we did. We were open to accidental encounters, expecting them to be happy. We stayed out in front, not so private, not so fearful. On the block, we gossiped, partied, bought and sold. We played, took in the sun. We sat on our porches, looking out on the street, welcoming it, enjoying it. A man's home was his castle then, too, but the castle wasn't under siege, neither was the nation. The hungry, angry have-nots were over in their part of town. We didn't know about them. The police kept them out of our neighborhood. We had wealth, but it wasn't a burden to us. We had it, we used it, took it for granted. The fear came not when we got rich, but when we realized it, when we saw how wealthy we were. Then we noticed the poor people, imagined them just past the sidewalk shrubs, waiting to rush in. They put a fence around the White House. Sentinel boxes for the guards, and floodlights at night went out across the lawn to light up the assassin's form. Those worried lights against the dark. Security, national and domestic. Fear, protection became the American idée fixe. We abandoned our porches, built no more stoops. Our last look at the streets was through the picture window, and then we put our fancy lamps there, and the outside was gone. No pictures to see anyway. We built vacant cul-de-sacs on which no one walked. We turned inward. The new houses had their garages in the front, while we, secure and private, cooked our barbecue in the rear. The stranger in the neighborhood can only be a prowler or the Avon lady. No one else came. We walled and bricked our families in, safe in concrete. And the White House, a mansion no more, is a distant palace, a Kremlin of sorts, to be penetrated by ticket and pass. Security, to keep the palace safe.
But for all the guards, a president is murdered, banks are robbed, homes broken into. A general testifies to nervous senators that there is no safety, neither at the top of space nor on the ocean floor. Nothing is secure. There is no absolute defense. Every protective device is superseded by a better, as each new lock on the door makes us less secure. For we know the hungry man is still watching, frustrating our radar, waiting in the shadows where the sonar won't echo. He's there, wanting our money, our potatoes, our heroin, our children, and our TV, refusing to leave as long as he's hungry. And we wait too, watching, looking back at him from our castles that have become our jail.
The Taproot Bar in Chicago, where we meet once a week, and George O'Malley, we're happy to know, no longer suffers from the leg trouble he had, and the root beer seems pretty good, especially the ice. And Jim Hogan is working for this magazine. Things seem to be tight, but he's still holding on. Della Ruther, who's been working since she was 13 years old, has found her dream house in Phoenix, Arizona. And Mike Lavelle is working, talking, arguing, and we're happy to know that his wife, Carol, and Mike have their second baby, William Dan. Congratulations to him. Let it be a good world for William Dan. And Ann Guerrero married her oldest daughter, and Anna's still in there, being Ann Guerrero, surviving very beautifully. Leon Beverly is still working for the Packing House Workers Union. He's worked there most of his life as a guy in the yards themselves, and now he's a representative. And what is Mike Lavelle's dream?
My fantasy dream is
to be a big
I
capitalist.
read Arthur Schlesinger one time where he said all the American working man wants to do is go to bowling. You know, intellectuals have a thing about bowling. I'd like to own a bowling alley, have Gore Vidal and Arthur Schlesinger as pin boys, and Spiro Agnew coming by every week. You know, vote. Here we go. But seriously, now, when I was single, I had no aspirations, no dream. All I wanted then was cold beer, a warm woman, place to lay my head. That'd be enough. You know, maybe something to eat.
What do you want?
But now I have children.
Right.
So I want my own home because I want to have the privacy to nail holes in a wall if I feel like it, because they're my walls. 4 o'clock in the morning because I got no neighbors telling me I can't. You know, I want that kind of privacy. And I want the backyard with the barbecue, the whole schmear. That's what I want.
That's why I got my home in Phoenix.
I don't want 2 homes, I want 1. I don't want 2 cars, I want 1.
It's hard to
I
believe
want
that's
one
your
color
big
TV.
thing.
It is. That's my big thing. And also to come by and talk to you.
Would
and
you
get
like
excited
to
every
see
once
your
in a while.
son go in the
Everybody here.
war?
We had a competition.
Would you like to see your son go in the
whole
war
conversation
in
is
some
a
foreign
contradiction.
country?
Of course not. I went, but, big thing.
You know,
You
we're
went
talking
there.
about something, Mike, you want to control yourself and your
You
life.
better
and
believe
you
it. But I don't
to
want to control my children now because I don't know what their interpretation of the American dream is. Because my kid might get to be 18 or 19 years old, look at me and say, Daddy, this is not what I want. Then all I tell them is, well, you are what, 18, 19, and you are free to find your dream. You know, I have found mine.
Okay.
If the kid goes back to the barbecue pit and
I wanna
says,
hear.
gee, I don't like this.
Can we hear?
And Daddy, materialism. I don't want it. I want color TV.
The only thing I'm disturbed about,
let the kids
I'm
go.
disturbed again. I'm disturbed. I can't see why all the opposition, I can't see nothing wrong with a country that we have with the technology, and we went to the moon. We own everything. Why in the hell do we have to have this area here? Why do we have to have them high rises? Why can't we have more colleges? How come we have the things that I'm talking about? Now, I don't care what you call it. Now, what's wrong with it?
More colleges.
But
let's have better homes.
All my life, I wanted a house like I'm living in now. And the house is just as big as I am. It fits me. I don't have to bend down to reach the bend down and get a sore back washing dishes. The sink is built where I can standing erect. It's built for a big person, and my house is like that. And it's quiet, and this is what I want because I always lived in Chicago. I lived in bed that was in from wall to wall, and you had no room, just put maybe a small chair or a dresser in. And my niece used to come over, she says, Andel, your house is always in confusion because you could never, the quarters were so tight and small. But now, I worked hard for it. It isn't mine yet, like Leon says. I can get thrown out anytime. I miss one payment, they can throw me out. But for the next 25 years, if I live, I'm safe.
So
Unless something else happens.
Let me make
Now,
this comment anyway.
This is the home that I'm living in.
Well, it's all right if that's,
And
if that's your
and
big
I
dream.
never had it. This is all my life. If I go broke, if anything else happens to me, I got 4 children, and they all have good education. They're all working, and they all got their own homes, except my youngest one. He doesn't want any yet. He's not ready for a new home, his own home. But I'm not sorry for what I went through, and my children are not begrudging my living in. Now I'm scattered. My children are here. 3 of them in Chicago, 1 in California, and I'm in Arizona. I'm far away from my children, but I make friends easy. I have a lot of friends, and I'm comfortable. I never was that comfortable, and that, the word is serene. I am now.
Me and Leon was talking a while ago that about, I know a lot of guys from West Virginia, you know, and you get a lot of fellas that come from the South. They come in here, they make a living in Chicago, but I've yet to hear one of them say they like the town. They just boil it down to it's a working man's town,
Because
and
they
that's
gotta wear
it, you know.
shoes.
No, no. It's not because they got. It's not because they got to walk. It's not necessarily. Hey, I'd like to take my own shoes off. There's too much glass in the sidewalk.
I love to walk. I love to walk barefoot, especially on fresh grass when there's dew on the grass.
One time I hitchhiked through the South with a guy I knew.
That's right.
One time I hitchhiked through the South with a guy I knew, and I've been more or less raised in the cities. And when, we'd be going somewhere, people would say, hi, good morning. And I'd look at these people and I'd say, what are they? Are they crazy or something? You know, and he said, no, Mike, that's the way they are.
Sure.
Very open, very friendly. You go to Chicago and you say, I lived in a building one time, I said good morning to a woman in an elevator.
Jeez,
and she complained to the owner of the building that I was trying to molest her. Good morning, that's all, you know. That's the way people are.
It's this kind of fear. When you were talking about something that's interesting. Mike was speaking about the Appalachian people, hillbillies they're called. They speak a home where they came from, not where they are. Many people, black people in the Deep South use the same phrase, don't they? Home is where they came from, not where they are. Well, George has been silent. What's your dream?
Well, insofar as material things are concerned, I think I've achieved most of it already. I have most of what I would want, you know. I am better off today than I have ever been in the past, and if things get no worse in the future, I am going to be one of the few fortunates. This constitutes about 75% of my life. I have derived a tremendous amount of satisfaction, and I have gone through many of the things, in fact, identical things that Della and Leon have gone through, even to the point where I was hungry and had to wait for the milkman to drop his milk off so that 10 minutes later I could go and steal it, or go to the bread box when they left bread at the grocery store at 4 o'clock in the morning. Be sure you got there before the grocer come out and you took your bread or cake or whatever he left. I did this. I stole to eat. Now, this is a fact. And the only regret I have now is that I didn't take a little more than I did.
I want to know what Jim's thinking. He's young. Here's Jim. He's born since the H-bomb. What's your dream?
I couldn't tell you about it. I really couldn't. It's a very personal thing. It's spiritual, really. And I don't think I would want to tell you about it. You know, and it's just an individual thing. That's
Let's put it another way. Not your personal dream. What kind of world would you like to see?
Well, as I said, for starters, I'd go along with what Leon was saying. You know, it'd be nice if everybody had, enough to eat and a nice place to live.
Who's going to wash the dishes?
It'd be nice if there were people to wash dishes and...
Whether they want to or not? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not talking politics.
Automatic dishwashers?
I said, I read a story about this guy who dropped out of college and he went to a commune and everybody was saying, share and share alike, everybody should eat. So nobody cleaned houses, nobody wanted to wash the dishes, but everybody wanted to eat. Everybody wanted to, enjoy life.
What's wrong with that?
That's beautiful, but baby, somebody's got to clean the house. Somebody's got to wash the dishes. The affluence we're talking about comes from hard work.
Sure. Did I say
the color TV comes from hard work? It comes from the hard work. It comes from the hard work that the money that I paid for it comes from hard work.
Okay,
the people who put it together worked hard for it. It is not a thing you sneer at and say, "Oh, color TV, oh boy, this is affluent." Yeah.
Listen, Mike, if you want a color TV, if you want 10 color TVs,
people worked for it to put it together.
Great.
I
That's
work
fine.
for it
Wow.
to buy it. There ain't a damn thing wrong with work or materialism.
That's really fine. I mean, that's great. If that makes you happy, Mike, that's fine.
That makes me happy
Great.
as hell.
That's good. That doesn't make me happy. I don't want a color
And I
TV.
don't go to
I don't
church.
have a
I
color
don't know what you're talking
TV.
about.
I don't own a color TV.
We're talking about
I don't have one, but I want one.
Now, wait a minute. Listen.
Then you have to work and get
Ann,
one. Or get a factory or something. I don't know.
Who's there? The Great American Dream Machine. Hold on a second. Hi, I'm Marshall Efron. Come on into my home, won't you? I'll show you how I live. Hi. I'm Marshall Efron, and welcome to my home. Hi. I'm Marshall Efron, and this is my home. I'd like to show you around it. I'd like you to show you how I live, how others like me live. There are many others like me, with apartments just like mine. Most of this was prefabricated in plastic and purchased as a kit and assembled right here. You could have an apartment like mine for $4.95, a heavy wine. Most of this that I've made is a labor of love. I try to see things on the street. This Art Deco table protector. You put your hot pan on it. The Ubu chicken. There's a bunch of foreign-made Cadillacs. There's our wonderful President Herbert Hoover. You can get him there. Up there, that's the front of a 1937 Ford V8 truck. These are two Jensen speakers here. Opening up this is our Sanctum Sanctorum, where we keep most of our old tapes. We preserve them. They're all codified and arranged in order right here. And above is a little surrealistic trip. You can see the mirror, which is always kept clean out of deference to the objects inside. There's a shoe in there and a shell. Shoe and a shell. Closing that. And then over here, there's a radio. That's a Philco radio from Spain. It's made in the United States. Are these your parents over there? Those Ukrainians? No. My parents are white Russians. Those are dead Ukrainians. And sometimes I can walk by a pile of trash. and get value vibes off it. I don't know what's in there, but there's something in there. And I'll walk over and I'll dig a little bit, and there it is, whatever it is. If it's my plastic TV bubble, or the day Kennedy was shot in New York Times, or pictures that I find in the street, or the junk stores that I frequent every now and then, pick up something for a couple dollars. Just resourcefulness, as my mother likes to call it. Just be resourceful. I've furnished this entire apartment without the aid of a professional. This place was absolutely infested with roaches. I'm glad to say that the roach battle is over and I've triumphed. There is no roach left alive. Do you have food here? No, I don't have any food here. One of the reasons I don't have roaches, I don't have any food, and I got spiders, and the spiders eat the roaches. It was $45, and I came back from Europe this summer. It went up to $55 a month. Is that a lot? No. No. Not for all this, no. Not for a place. If I were staying at a Howard Johnson's, it would cost me quite a bit every night. This is my own home. I own everything here. It's a home, a place I like to live. This is the living room and the bedroom. My kitchen is in my bathtub. The bathtub sits in the kitchen. There's a refrigerator and a stove and a sink. There's an indoor plumbing. There's an indoor john with more books and closets. I'll take you now into the kitchen. It's just like any other kitchen. You suspect it's a little refrigerator. It's a gas stove. Use a match to get it going. And of course, what kitchen is complete? It doesn't have its own bathtub. Is this the kind of place you've always wanted? No, I've always wanted a big place with lots of new furniture and appliances and something comfortable with a backyard and a front yard and a garage and maybe a grease pit in the garage. I'd sure like that. I don't have that. Why do you live here? Why? Well, because it's cheap for one thing. How would you describe the community economically? Lower class, lower middle, lower, là-bas. I've always wanted a bicycle wheel suspended from a wall. That's why I made it. I found this bicycle wheel in the street and said to myself, what a good opportunity now to have a bicycle wheel suspended from a wall, just like Man Ray and all the big boys have. I wonder when I'll move out. I wonder where I'll go. What's next? And over here, that's a stuffed cat filled with K-pop. And I like to put her around every now and then, different places around the apartment. Entirely portable. Japanese maid, runs on transistors. Also, this cat has 7 positions. It wakes up, it mews, it looks disturbed, and it's a very nice pet. This is it. It's home. You can't say too much about 2 rooms and a 3rd room that has all the secrets of your life. Is there anything that you'd like to have that you don't have? Many things I'd like to have that I don't have. One is the Star of India diamond. I have a perfect place for it right here in this apartment. They just show it, look beautiful. I even buy a length of velvet to put it on. Or the Kohinoor diamond, that'd be very nice too. Or a big ruby, or a pearl, I don't care. Anything. I don't have any gold in here. I'd like to have something big and solid made of gold.
The loft was built before we left on the trip from San Francisco. It was to give us an extra room for an extra double bed. We also added some more paint. We like to try to keep it neat, you know, because it's our home and we put a lot of value in it. David and Mary had a beautiful ranch house in New Hampshire, and Aaron and I, you know, were very well off too. He was making about $14,000 a year. And we decided that a dream house wasn't where it was at. We decided that what was really real was learning to love people in a real intimate way. This is David, that's Aaron, and this is Mary, and we're married to each other. Like, I feel that I'm equally married to the 3 of them. Like, Mary is my wife, as much as David is my husband and Aaron is my husband.
It isn't.
And
right?
And I have a husband and 2 wives.
Right, Robert?
And David has a husband and 2 wives, and Mary has a wife and 2 husbands.
A 4 marriage is pretty much the same as a 2 marriage, except there's 4 of us. We have the same spiritual commitments, you know, till death do us part. What do you think about living in a 4 marriage with 4 parents instead of 2? Fine. One of her classic answers to people is fine. You know.
One part that's affecting us very much now is that this baby has 2 mothers, and it's been a really different experience for me. I feel like I can see now how in many ways I was too strongly attached to, you know, my 2 other children. Like, I felt like they were mine, and I think it's clear to me when Faylee and I are both the mother of this child, that the child's, you know, like the universe's child, and we're here to raise them.
She was conceived in the 4 marriage. I don't know how many Americans live in a school bus. We don't have central heating. We heat by the stove. It's small. The 9 of us to live in here, I suppose that's different. This is where we sleep 4 of our children. We have 5 altogether. These convert into bunk beds, and on either side. And we have a panel that fits in here at night, so the children have their own area. And we don't disturb them, and they don't disturb us too much. This is the bathroom. It's a little chemical toilet. And this is storage. Seems to have everything we need. We used to live in a 10-room house in suburbia, but we find that once we learned to like each other better, we didn't have to have so much room. It's hard work, but it's very happy.
The clamor of liberal spokesmen who say we must have more federal spending and government intervention to cure the problem of unemployment would be laughable if the consequences were not so tragic for so many people. The truth of the matter is that government intervention in the economy cannot cure the problem of unemployment. It is, on the contrary, the principal source of so-called mass, hardcore unemployment, particularly among the young, the poor, and members of minority groups. Those who think that federal pump priming and spending can solve the difficulties of mass unemployment might take a look at the record of the New Deal, which started us on the road toward Keynesian fiscal policies. Contrary to liberal contention, the New Deal never did solve the difficulty of large-scale unemployment in our country. There were more people out of work in America in 1940 after 2 terms of the New Deal than there had been in 1931. Productive jobs with rising real wages cannot be provided by government spending, but only by the creation of goods and services which people want. Perhaps the most vivid illustration of the way in which governmental interference destroys jobs for those who need them most is existing federal policy on minimum wages. The liberal theory on this subject has been that real wages can be increased by the sheer force of compulsion. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If it did, we could simply pass a law saying everybody should be paid $5 or $10 or even $100 an hour and live forever on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the real world, wages have to be paid by consumers, and those whose skills and abilities do not justify that wage in terms of the goods and services they provide simply don't get jobs, or they lose the jobs they have. In 1954, for example, the minimum wage was 75 cents an hour. By 1967, it had increased to $1.40 an hour. In that same span, general unemployment in the economy actually decreased from 5.5 to 3.8%. But unemployment among adolescent Negroes, the marginal workers most victimized by the minimum wage, skyrocketed from 16.5 to 26.5%. These percentages translate into thousands and thousands of jobs. Professor Yale Brosen of the University of Chicago cites the case of 100,000 farm workers, tens of thousands of employees in the automobile industry, 1,800 women at a packing plant, all out of jobs because of rising wage minimums. So how do we cure unemployment? A specific answer for starters: abolish the minimum wage.
With his eighth note against my 3.
Yeah.
The bar where you stopped. Sorry, let's go back to the
one more.
Then auf.
Then auf.
Im Anfang.
Okay.
My emotional attitude towards the great American dream is, as an artist, a rather selfish one. Even coming back to Cincinnati, where I don't hope to leave for a long time, there was a lot of comment on when I took the position of why I came here. Lots of people, perhaps most people like myself, had never been to Cincinnati before. That I can't explain. I think the fact that it is where it is, the beginning of the South, it is topographically in the Midwest, but it really isn't. It's the, what do they call it, the Queen City, which opens into the South. I, for the moment, have found my dream right here, because there is no stopping in Cincinnati. Referring again to the enthusiasm of the people around, not just the ones I work with, but with the public itself, I feel that my promise when I came here only a few months ago of turning the Queen City or Cincinnati into another Salzburg by 1972, I feel now that it is not going to be such a difficult dream to fulfill.
Frühling willkommen, der Frühling eine Freude.
Get as much separation as you can between those eighth note upbeats and the next downbeat, especially in piano. Play the last before E, please. One bar before E. The first phrase is fine. Ya ta 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 ta. And then we hear the ya ta ta. The eighth notes get longer. It is staccato. Pum 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 pi ya pa 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 pa. Keep it, please. Same place. E. One before it. Shot. Much more beautiful yesterday, huh? Fight those natural crescendos going up, and it all stays pianissimo, like fluff. Nothing, no crescendo. Yum, bum, ba-dee-da. Way, way, way in pianissimo. F will do it, please. Frank. First of all, if you are an artist, there's not much you can do about it. You can't escape it. It's what you are, and you have to live with it. Thank you. Coming here to Cincinnati was, in many ways, an accident. For me, a very fortuitous one. And I really can't even remember when the moment of decision came to me to finally take the risk. And for me, it was a risk because I've been living for a long time without having my own orchestra. But I can't really explain why I came to Cincinnati. Now that I'm here, I feel luckier than ever because I found really a kind of musical paradise here. I don't think there's an orchestra in the world where I could start this last movement of the Beethoven First and not have to stop in the second bar. When we get the first and seconds, where it goes better, yum, do-yup-bum, because now we're playing rather up in piano. Keep it down. The whole charm of the movement is between forte and piano. From the very beginning.